Hello again, everybody. It's Jason Powers. It's Sunday. Was it now the 12th? Yep, there's a lot going on, of course, as per usual. Obviously, everybody's heard about the banking situation with Silicon Valley Bank, and if you haven't, well, I guess the best thing is to say people should try to be calm, and there's and I played this a couple weeks ago actually as an opening to a musical broadcast. I said it was a scene from movie Sneakers. I find it very I guess apropos scene for what we're going through right now. So one of the things that it offered was that how to make a bank shaky to sow the perception that it is, and I think that's what happened, at least in some regards. There was actually mortgage-backed securities and whatnot, and the people that the bank run that took place was caused by panic. It was caused by people who are supposed to be, in many cases, they're supposed to be these highly intelligent tech people who, of course, became very scared, and they caused their own doom. Actually, they made that bank fail. At least in the last nail. Let's just say they didn't. What do you say? It wasn't their irresponsibility and risk management and whatnot to begin with, but it certainly they made the ultimate final decision that would have been something that maybe could have been handled much better, and in a matter of a few days or a couple days, they sowed the seeds of their own destruction by making a tragic error at the most critical time, which of course goes to the point of, if you think about it from the standpoint of, these are supposedly, it was a bank that was heavily tied to all these startup companies who are supposed to be innovative and intelligent and decision making and rational, and but that didn't exactly turn out to be the case now, is it? I'm not trying to criticize them all, because I don't know which one of their interests and whatnot. There's probably some that didn't panic, and they'll probably be the ones who wind up getting hurt the worst. But but for the ongoing situation, if people will stay calm and don't do anything rash or emotionally driven or fearful, because this is part of, I think, a larger agenda too. I don't know who sowed the seeds. There's been blame that's been tossed around. There's various actors involved with this. Some are banks, some are personal people that put the wrong messaging out there. So the whole thing is the funny thing is many people don't stop to assess, and I'll be the first to admit that in my life I've made some rash choices that got me in trouble. That's why right now I think this is the most important thing to try to do, is to allay fears, allay the idea that we need to make rash choices. I've done a lot less of that in my last few years of my life, in regards to lots of things. We could go over those things, but I don't think that's really going to be helpful. The idea is we're all in this together, to use the old saw from the 2020 COVID area. We are literally in this together. We're in this country together, for F's sake. Of course, we have a lot of people that despise and hate it. I don't even think they have a cohesive argument as to why they should hate it. But, cohesive arguments and non-emotional arguments haven't really been all that successful to try to demonstrate why you should be on the right side of this in terms of not panicking and not despising the country, or investing all your hopes in one person. The hopes should be in yourself, or your responsibility, or taking accountability for what you can do, and also taking responsibility for the errors that you might make. Or if you do it immediately, people will respect you more for it. If you immediately say, oh, I think I made a mistake, this is what I think I should have done, but this is what I did, people might get annoyed and they might just blow it off and go on. The problem is we now have sadly, the biggest problem is we have a generation now that doesn't think that they think that they're perfect, and it's easy to be a critic. It's easy, when I say perfect, they're perfectly critical. They can criticize everybody else around them, but they be damned if they'll actually look at what's wrong with themselves and fix it, or attempt to fix it, or certainly take a longer view. Many of us, can relate to that in ways that they think that we can't, and they wouldn't listen. I guess you could say in many ways I didn't listen either at that age, at this time frame. I mean, there's examples of this going on over and over again. Obviously, there's one that's going around about Stanford Law. It's quite interesting to have people who manage to get an undergraduate degree and manage to get into Stanford Law, and yet they can't sit there and actually just listen to a federal judge give a speech, challenge him based upon his speech, engage with the person's opinions and ideas, because it is his opinion, but based upon the law and the structure of the law. And if you find him in an erroneous position, then you may gain some points. You also may gain some respect from him. You might also get a job from him. The funny thing about certain people, when they give speeches like that, if you give them a question that makes them think, they're going to look at that as somebody who can challenge me, which of course will mean that he'll respect you more. He may not even agree with your opinion, but he might say, well, at least this person can present a cogent argument that countermands what I just said. Instead, these people cried and protested and just were shameful. These are the things that, are, I don't know who's driving this all. I mean, it's administrative and stuff like that. But the mass psychosis, or however we want to label it, or this evil bug that has gone around, which is we're actually far worse now than the virus, in the fact that it seems to be ingrained to such a degree that these people can't handle. They just can't handle debate. They can't handle ideas. They can't handle anything. And how they manage to get through an undergraduate degree is beyond me. I mean, I say that because I barely got through my undergraduate degree, and I went out of my way to try to test the limits of that by not going to class and then just winging it. And nevertheless, I didn't think I did that with my graduate degree, but then again, it's a different time, a little difference in what I was expecting to do. And I'm not bragging about that part of it. It's just something I got, but whatever. The people now, though, they're supposed to be, how are they going to function in a society, and how are they going to handle things like a failure? That's another part of this. Going to handle things like failure. I'm sorry. Got a crazy thing going on here. I don't know what happened there, but anyway, never mind. So anyways, you had this whole generation that how are they going to accept, what are they going to do when the things get really bad here in the future? And we may be able to forestall it for a little while longer, but it's hard to foresee that it won't escalate. That means that we have to be much more aware of it and try to do the best we can to get through it and tighten our belts and understand that. When I say tighten your belts, doesn't mean you should go out of your way to... It's kind of interesting. One of the things that's problematic, and it's going to happen anyway, is there's going to be a deflationary cycle coming up, I think, where, if the money, this is a whole process here, but it's going to take a while. But the thing is people had better try to do the best you can to continue on the way you've been doing it. Things that are good decision making. Put that in perspective and do things that are can improve your life. As a matter of fact, if you want to do something that's not normally done during this time frame, is if you're going to invest, when I say invest in your own personal skills and innovate, build something, sell something, skills, anything you're outputting, amongst others, barter, trade, that might work, because that's going to be very important going forward. I think that'll probably be a much more robust way to achieve goals than just solely just going to the market. The market's going to be rough, and it's probably not something, and by the way, the market, at least on the market, has always been a casino. It's going to be even worse with all the various things and various actors doing what they're doing. The Fed's going to be even more, they're going to do even more intervention, because that's what they do. Or they're going to create this, or they're going to create the narrative that's going to introduce you to central bank digital currency, because they're going to sell that, and then there's going to be people that are going to hop right on, which is going to be the worst thing they can do. So, but they're going to scare people so much. The propaganda is going to be so hard on this. And because it'll be right after whatever the collapse is. Sorry, I'm back inside. Whatever the back collapse is coming back down the way from this banking situation in maybe 3 to 6 months. I know there is a conference this month at through the Bank of International Settlements, and of course there's a Fed meeting. It's around the same time. So you can imagine that there'll be, I don't know what next week's going to hold. I know they're going to they'll also probably hijack all the investigations into certain things. Funny that the bank situation comes right up at the right particular moment to stop anybody who may, because then this will become the bigger crisis. See, that's always what they do. And it derails the whole conversation. There'll be a derailment by the media, and of course people will jump on that. Now granted, it's a real crisis. Don't get me wrong when I say the real crisis is the fact that it's taken them this long to figure out that the economy is, a lot of this was driven by tech layoffs and bad bets in the bond market, in particular by this bank, and the exposure that they left available or left people open to. So I'm going to leave it there for now. I want to make this a short one, and I'm going to upload it to the various outlets that I normally do. So God bless the United States of America, and God save the world.